Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Cole Zarek. Welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for stopping by, and today we're going to jump right in to all the effects, all the audio effects that you can put on a track to make it sound weird, to make it sound different, to make it sound interesting. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video, so let's get started. Alright, to start this video, I want to introduce you guys to all the basic effects, all the names, and which ones you want to get acquainted with first. And let's start with something simple, which is reverb. Reverb, I usually like to go with just some silver reverb. That's probably a very, very basic thing to get started. You have other options to choose from. When it comes to reverb, I would say the most complex, advanced one is Space Designer. For me, it's kind of hard to get the exact effect that I want from this, but let's just get started with this. So what is reverb? What does reverb do? Let's turn it off and listen to what we have. Just a basic piano sample. That's it. That's all. That's all we have to work with. So what does reverb do? Reverb, if we're going to turn it up very, very high, which I am doing on the wet, reverb is going to create echo. Just think of reverb as echo. All the way up. All the way down, we just have no reverb on the wet side. So you want to have your dry all the way up to 100 and just play with it. See how much echo you want on your instrument. So that's basically reverb. Think of it as an echo. So what else do we want to look at? Let's take a look at delay. Let's go to delay and let's go to tape delay. Another very, very basic, may not look basic, may look intimidating, but I want you to focus again on just the output. Let's turn our dry to 100 and let's turn our wet to like 70. So what do you think is going to happen with, and pay attention to just feedback and output, just for a basic to get started. So think of delay as repeating. And when you want to explore more of what you can do with it, hit the note. You can do it every 1/4, 1/8, 1/16. Click around and see how that affects things. Da-da, da-da. That one's going to repeat right after it happens. This one's going to take a little bit longer. Da-da, da-da. And then we go back to what we just had, which is 1/4. Da-da, da-da. That's what that was referring to. So you put a little bit on the wet. It can add some rhythm, some urgency, and some dynamics to the track that you're already working with. So all in all, think of delay as repeating itself. What else can we look at? Let's go ahead and look at distortion. What do you think distortion will do? Let's go to clip distortion. I would say distortion is a pretty it's pretty understood what distortion is. It's going to completely muddy and clip what you're using. Think of it as an electric guitar making the sound extremely crunchy, which might make things interesting. That's extremely loud. Keep that in mind too. When you're working with distortion, careful, maybe put the gain down a little bit before you listen so you don't hurt your ears, because making it loud and crunchy like that is gonna make the volume go up higher too. So think of distortion as making it crunchy like a rock and roll guitar amp. Think of it like that. So what else do we have to look at? Let's take a look at just your classic EQ. I think EQ is one of the most important tools This won't be an in-depth EQ, but this will basically shape all the frequencies that you're hearing. So when you hear higher frequencies, you can turn them down or turn them up. Middle frequencies, same, and lower frequencies. So you have your bass and your mids and your highs. You're basically choosing what sounds exist in this and which noises, I guess, you want to turn down and which noises you want to turn up. So say I want this to sound really spacious and kind of muffled and wide, then I'll turn up the natural bass. It also has distortion still on it, so I'm going to turn distortion off so you can hear more of the bass. It's a little excessive. I would not boost things to this extent. That's kind of a lot, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. So for the next effect, let's take a look, go down to modulation, and let's take a look at chorus. Now what's chorus going to do? What do you expect a chorus? Don't think of chorus as in like a chorus song on the radio, like singing along to the chorus. Thinking of chorus as if it's like an actual chapel, and you're actually in like an a cappella group, and you're actually singing like hundreds of voices. Like there's lots of company around one voice. There's multiple voices. So what you're basically doing is you're giving your sound more company, making it sound like an entire ensemble. Where if we were to turn this off, it just sounds like one singular voice singing, like doing a solo. But if you turn on the chorus, then it sounds like an entire group. And depending on what you're trying to do, it could be extremely useful to kind of create background noises or to widen out one certain something that's maybe sticking out too much. Next effect that I think would be extremely useful for you guys to get acquainted with, if we go down to pitch and we go down to pitch shifter. And first thing you need to do is turn the mix up to 100%. Basically that means that you're going to hear, it's going to apply to the track as a whole rather than halfway. So that might not make sense yet, but it will. So I'm turning the pitch down, right? Very, very low pitch, or I can turn it to a high pitch, like a little chipmunk, which doesn't sound very good. But basically the mix is like, if I turn the mix down, then you'll hear the high pitch and the original. So like if I put it at 50%, for example, that means you're hearing the original track along with the track that is boosted up 6 semitones. So this allows you, I don't use it for instruments. I can just change the actual pitch by playing it at a different pitch. But if you're using vocal tracks or a sample, boosting it to 100% and throwing it on a sample to kind of change it and make it your own, that's usually what I use pitch shifting for. Extremely useful. Next up, very important, if we go down to dynamics, we're going to go to a compressor. Basically, what a compressor is going to do, it's going to analyze all the low parts, the low volume. It's going to equalize the stuff that's low and the stuff that's high into a perfect middle ground. So if I'm talking, right, if I'm actually just talking and I'm really, really quiet, but you can't hear me, it's because I don't have a compressor on. If I had a compressor on, my whispering would be the same volume as me talking. And also, if I was yelling, it would be the same volume as when I'm regular talking. That's what a compressor does. I would look up some compressor tutorials because for me, I'm still learning. I'm always learning, and a compressor is just a little complex, something that I need some more practice on. I use it all the time with every song that I make, but it doesn't mean I'm perfect at it. I just have a very general understanding of what it does. But compressor, extremely useful. I would say get to know your compressor and your EQ first. Next effect we're going to throw on is we're going to go down here and go to modulation and flanger. Very popular effect that you may recognize when you hear it. If you can kind of hear it, it gives the sound a very metallic sense. Kind of phases it, and I'll turn it up so you can kind of hear it a little bit better. You can make it wobbly. There's lots of different presets that you can cycle through, but basically you're giving it this automated metallic sound. So basically these are all the effects that I would get started learning, getting to know before kind of moving on and branching out on all the other effects that Logic has to offer. Let me know if this video, let me know if you learned something in this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. I make videos like this all the time. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of our beginner tutorial. Thanks. See ya.